I should say this is my triumphant return to Logic After Dark. I've been on hiatus.
Okay.
I'm not sure I really remember how to do this, to be honest.
That's
cool. I might be out of the groove.
I'm sure we'll get into it. What about your hiatus?
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple things brought it on. One of them, I don't know if this made it through the grapevine, but I did in fact have COVID.
Oh shit! Damn, sorry to hear that. Fuck.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising because I'm not really one to get sick. I sort of I was very sure I would never get, or if I did get it, I would be asymptomatic. But I actually had it pretty bad. For like 4 days there, I was like sick as a dog. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I realized after like 2 days that I don't think I literally hadn't eaten at all, and I realized I had to like force myself to like eat like half a piece of bread that I had.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and the other thing is like I couldn't sleep because I would just have these like fever dreams. I would have these dreams where like the different parts of my body were controlled by different factions that were all warring against each other.
Right.
And if you can't sleep, you can't really get better.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which is sort of a scary proposition. It's like, okay, I really need to like sleep for like 24 hours straight, but I can't at all. So how am I gonna get better? So yeah, it was pretty touch and go there for a while, and I could not bring myself to look at the internet during it. I watched a lot of movies and TV, but the internet just, you know, when you're sick, you have like a kind of like you're like extremely attuned to your body and like what makes you feel good and what makes you feel bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
If you've ever been sick before, but you know, you're just very attuned to that. And I was just very certain that to even the very thought of looking at Twitter like made my body recoil, like almost as if I had gotten COVID from Twitter.com, which I'm not ruling out. I'm not saying I didn't do that. That might have happened.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It's like when you get really drunk on like certain type of alcohol, and are sick from it. You thought of it makes you feel sick because your body's going, "No, I don't want any of that." So yeah, I get it.
That is an extremely apt comparison in many ways. Yeah. It's exactly like that. And I was there was like at least a week, probably longer, where I was like not on Twitter at all, but it had kind of been a long time coming. I used to feel like I had like a crew of people on Twitter that liked me. I don't really feel that way so much these days, and that makes it less fun for me personally.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Twitter's changed. Like, I think you posted a meme about the Steven Crowder thing, and I just sort of said like, oh, like simpler times, and that's true. Like, I feel like within the last year, Twitter's become like so much more horrible than it was. Maybe I've changed, I don't know, but it seems like it's worse than it was before.
It seems like now if I post what's a thing to post, you know, popsicles are better than hot dogs. It seems like within 15 minutes I'll be like angry about someone will post something that makes me angry.
Yeah.
I'll be in a battle. I legit got in like an argument with a mutual who I like over that 10,000 rats meme. Like that legit happened. Like yesterday that happened.
Jesus Christ.
Like, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, how is this happening? This is a meme about 10,000 rats from 6 months ago. How is this happening? How am I actually angry? But I am. Why won't you just let me express my opinion about 10,000 rats? Why, Twitter? Why?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
The week that I pieced, sorry to interrupt you, but the week that I pieced out of Twitter, mostly due to being sick, but that was the week of Bean Dad, and I was like heavily into Bean Dad discourse.
Oh, okay. What was your well, I mean, look, I love talking about stupid internet drama. What was your read on the Bean Dad discourse?
Well, Chud, let me tell you, I was adamantly pro Bean Dad. I went all in on Bean Dad, and then when Bean Dad delivered his groveling apology, it was like the 9/11 of Logic Guy Twitter, honestly.
What? Why?
I had never felt betrayed on such a personal level before, and I'm being honest about that. That's not hyperbole. When I had gone to bat for Bean Dad in a major way, I put my reputation on stake, and then he comes out and delivers this groveling apology about how he's doing better, and he recognizes the harm that his Bean Dad tweets may have inflicted on marginalized folks, and spelled folks with an X. And I don't know anymore, man. I don't know what's going on in the world anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do you not think that he was being a little bit, excessive with his kids?
So at first, my first response was like, I'm all in on Bean Dad. Bean Dad is America's greatest hero. But no. Here's what I think about Bean Dad. I think Bean Dad is a really annoying guy. And rather than, and by the way, I'm basically essentially going to have the exact same opinion that they had on Chapo Trap House. But I'm not copying them. This is legitimately my true feelings.
Okay.
But Bean Dad is obviously a super annoying guy who, his whole story reeks of like, this didn't even happen energy, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He's basically doing teach women to code, but with can openers on his 9-year-old daughter. And he's using this to fish for likes on social media, right? But rather than just dunk on him for being a big, stupid lame-o who's telling some stupid story, like, no, we can't do that on Twitter anymore. So instead of that, left Twitter became, including several mutuals of mine who came to swoop down to scream at me, became convinced that Bean Dad was literally a neo-Nazi who was starving his 9-year-old daughter to death. I'm going to read to you an actual headline from a magnificent website called marysue.com. Hold on, let me bring it up. This is what Mary Sue had to say about Bean Dad.
Yeah.
Twitter's Bean Dad is a metaphor for our broken country. America is run by Bean Dads, and it's a problem. Thank you for saying it out loud, the Mary Sue. That's what we're all thinking. Truly, we are a nation traumatized by Bean Dads. I think at one point they say that Mitch McConnell is America's Bean Dad.
I mean, that's just so hyperbolic, isn't it? Like, come on, get a grip. What the hell is wrong with you? If you write a headline like that, honestly, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror.
A reckoning is called for when you're writing headlines like that. Why can't people just say Bean Dad is a big stupid lame-o? Why have we lost the words to just ridicule things rather than creating these trumped up and frankly ludicrous moral outrages? If you uncritically believed that Bean Dad was a Nazi, you're really gullible. You're really gullible. There's no nice way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
And the kid was fine. The kid was not starving. That is absurd catastrophizing.
Yeah, and catastrophizing is the right word for it. And obviously, I had my own experience with this. In the middle of January myself. Do tell after you make this point. Yeah, sure. But yeah, basically, it's like this kind of grotesque appropriation of social justice language to describe any event that occurs in the most extreme way to pump the drama up to 11. So, everyone's got something to talk about for a week,
And here's what's truly annoying about it is that we're doing that instead of having fun on the internet, because it would be fun to dunk on some lame woke dad, which is what he is. He's a woke dad. It would be totally fun to dunk on some lame woke dad who tried to teach his daughter a simple lesson about can openers, but fucked it up because he's a pompous idiot. It would be hilarious to post memes about Bean Dad and dunk on Bean Dad, but you go in to do it, and literally, here's what I saw when I went to Bean Dad to Twitter to go have some fun. Literally, person after person is insisting that he's a child abuser and also a Nazi. Based on a 7-year-old tweet, where, by the way, the 7-year-old tweet in question was him sharing a Jezebel.com article about a black girl in science class who was hassled by the police for doing science. So he was being woke. He was being woke, but he was being woke in 2012 language. And this is a warning to everyone out there who engages in this stuff. all the intersectional language that you're using now, this is a preview of how poorly it's going to age. 7 years from now, this will be you, and you'll be explaining why like you literally accused some like lame podcaster of being a Nazi, and you're just gonna be like, no, you don't understand. That's how we talked back then. I was just engaging in the conventions of the medium, and on Twitter, on social media in 2021, that's what you did. You pretended that everyone was a Nazi. So there's some comedy podcast I'd never heard of. Their theme song was written by the Bean Dad. And so they had to come out and be like, after the events of this week, like it was fucking like I'm trying to think of a tragedy that's not 9/11. I can't because I'm American centric, but they come out and they're like, after the events of this week, we will be changing our theme song. And the first comment, the first reply to the tweet was, are you going to go back through the archive and change the song on every episode in your archive? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ.
What the hell? That's wild. Going back to the point that you made about like going through the old tweets and stuff, there is a term I actually used it on stream recently that I think is quite apt. Unfortunately, it is from the intellectual dark web, but this idea of like going through old tweets is like offense archaeology, and I'm like, that's such
offense
a good
archaeology.
Yeah, but it's like that's such a good term for it, right? Like digging through people's old tweets, literally just to the sole purpose of being offended by what you find there. Like, what's the point?
Well, I do like that. Is that's too clever for Eric Weinstein? He usually when someone on the IDW has a new term, it's usually Weinstein, but he wouldn't come up with something that simple. I feel like.
I think I heard Gad Sad using it.
Really, Gad Sad. I gotta give it to him, man. That's way better than they usually come up with.
Yeah, for sure.
After we record this, I'm going to look that up and find out who among them came up with that. Because if it's Eric Weinstein, I will eat my hat. I will eat my proverbial hat. Because that's way too compact for him.
The funny thing about it as well is often you'll see, and this has happened a number of times, is someone will engage in this offense archaeology, and then within a matter of a few hours, the person that's done that, their tweets have been dug through, and they're found out that they've had some takes or jokes in the past. It's like, well, come on, like what you know, hoisted by your own petard.
Not a good look, my dude.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, let's just have an agreement that, like, you know, like if we did something or said something that long ago, you know, or I guess you know, tweeted something is probably the more accurate way to put it. We should have some sort of like statute of limitations on tweets or something, you know, like maybe a couple of years. I don't know. We all agree on a time, and then we accept that we don't do that because, hey, guess what? People change, and we're not the same person we were 7 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's one solution. I think that what really needs to happen though is there needs to be a change of people need to change their heart. Really, I mean, that's the best way I can say. You've got to be like, you know what? There's something better I should be doing with my life right now, rather than trying to cancel some like some gimmick account that I heard of 7 minutes ago. Like, I get the impulse, but I feel like that's a losing strategy. Because even if we do it, who's gonna enforce the rules? What we've got to do is we've got to change the culture. We've got to change the culture, people.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not sure with like something like Twitter being so gamified to like everyone's looking for fuel for the dunk engine, right? Like that's what it feels like.
Yep.
Yes. And you know, particularly recently, I've seen like listen, I'm not like a fan of Jimmy Dore. Like I don't really care for his content, but it's kind of weird to me how he's become this figure.
I've never watched a Jimmy Dore video in its entirety. I have to admit, I only see clips on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's clips of people that are like, you know, oh, fuck Jimmy Dore. And it's like, okay, fair enough, you don't like Jimmy Dore. But like
100% of the Jimmy Dore takes I've seen have been cultivated by Matthew Dimitri.
Oh my fucking God, that guy's a fucking loser. We can get into the Matthew Dimitri means. But yeah, it's like, you know, I only hear about him when you speak about him to tell you how shit he is. I would never hear about him or even think about him if you didn't talk about him all the time. And, you know, it's the classic thing of like, attention is currency in the marketplace of ideas. And that's very true. And people need to remember, if you want someone to like not be thought about or discussed, you need to take the first step and stop talking about them, you know?
Yeah, but then, like at the same time, wouldn't we miss out on classic content from Dave Rubin, Tim Pool, reliable lolcows who we all love?
I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with like, I mean, you know, we all want to get the dunks in, we all want to have fun, and we all want to meme. And I think if you're doing it for the purpose of like having fun, memeing, whatever, that's cool. But it seems like these people have got a genuine desire to like stop this person somehow. And I think that speaks to like broadly, like this cancel culture kind of mentality that people have, where they think that they can like, you know, criticize someone out of existence. Like, it doesn't really work unless you can get people actually deplatformed on these tech companies on a widespread basis. You're not really going to stop them. Do you know what I mean?
There is no. Hold on, I'm sorry. I was eating again while you were talking. My main beef with the deplatforming crowd is that they seem to believe that there's a big switch we can just use to turn people off. And to some extent, these switches do exist, but they're controlled by very powerful ruling class interests. That they are not ours, and the project of the left should be no more switches. We should get rid of these off switches. Yeah, that should be our goal. Because I mean, this is going to connect us to a bigger thing that I want to talk about in depth. This YouTube deplatforming that you dealt with, but yeah, the left. It alarms me the extent to which the left very misguidedly has put its faith in the gatekeepers of these giant switches. That's a mixed metaphor. I apologize for that. But the keepers of these giant switches, and if we just offer them a tribute, then they'll turn the off switch on the bad people, and you know their misinformation will be stopped. That was the other thing that going down on Twitter.com right when I checked out for a week or two. It was Bean Dad, and then post the January 6th Capitol Hill riots, I guess I'll call them, the left, which had previously already been embracing this mindset, embraced deplatforming in a huge way, applauding when Twitter deplatformed Trump, I didn't really take it that seriously, because I mean, the idea that the president of the United States has been silenced by Twitter, I think, is a little crazy. Yeah. The president still has, no matter what you do, the president's going to have a gigantic platform. And even as a former president, he still has a gigantic he's probably going to have his own network pretty soon. What's
funny, right, is like he got taken off of Twitter. Everyone's cheering along, right? But the funny thing about it is he released this letter saying about something to do with the Screen Actors Guild or something, and him being removed from it. Guess where I saw it? On fucking Twitter. Why? Because everyone was sharing it, trying to dunk on it. And it's like, what the fuck?
I totally missed it. He got kicked out of the Screen Actors Guild. I didn't know he was in the Screen Actors Guild.
Yeah, it was something along those lines anyway. But it was this normal sort of style of letter, kind of like sour grapes type stuff, It was great content. In fact, let me just see if I can find it and I'll put it into chat. But to me, that kind of, just made me think like you've campaigned so hard and wanted so badly to get him off Twitter. Yet here we are all discussing this stupid letter on Twitter. His words are on Twitter. Like, what?
He's become the he's become Amy Therese. Like you constantly see his takes when everyone screenshots them and shares them. Donald Trump is Amy Therese now. The irony is absolutely vicious. Did you see that the Russian opposition leader, that guy Navalny, who I don't know that much about other than he's faced a lot of persecution from the Putin government, but he actually condemned the deplatforming of Trump, which I thought was interesting. I read, I think he wrote a Twitter thread about it. I read the thread and didn't find his reasons to be all that well thought out. But I thought it was noteworthy that a figure like that, who is the target of so much really kind of scary government censorship, you know, took a stand against it. I wish more leftists would read stuff like that and kind of consider it, because I think so often people don't think of the what's the term, the undesired consequences of these actions. They think like, oh, they're gonna take down the bad people, and then the bad people won't be on Twitter anymore. And it's like, I think you need to think it through a few more steps than that.
Yeah, I mean, I vividly remember on stream recently, I was talking about, I can't remember the exact details of it, but I was talking about, like, you know, the ways in which people get deplatformed, even like Nazis. And like, obviously, I'm not a Nazi. I don't like Nazis. Nazis bad and all that. But I just question the logic of like removing them from social media platforms. And I vividly remember the response of someone was this outraged in chat. They were like, oh, but they're Nazis. And it's like, that's not really a good argument, though. You're basically just saying,
that is moralistic thinking. That is the type of moralistic thinking that characterizes so much of the left, and it is such a fucking dead end. It goes nowhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And whilst I appreciate, obviously, there's got to be a line, and the thing I think is this, right? The thing that I get frustrated with is, everyone agrees that these platforms have to engage in some form of censorship, right? Like, we don't want indecent images of children. We don't want ISIS beheading videos popping up on your timeline, right? So some stuff has to go, yeah? So the debate isn't about whether it should happen or not. The debate should be about where the line is. And that's what I think people get wrong on both sides. You're constantly arguing over whether there should be a line or not. No, discuss where the line should be. And you can have a discussion about that then. Maybe you think it should be here. I think it should be there. But we just get trapped in these discussions online, having this absurd idea of like these platforms are either going to be like completely free, anyone can say what they want, which is ludicrous, or they're going to be super censorious to what I think is wrong, and that's ludicrous, you know?
The problem with anyone can say whatever they want is that so much of like our free speech issues and our media issues, what they really are, if you think about it, is that we're struggling with a signal to noise ratio. Like they're kind of problems that are similar to like when there were too many telemarketers and they threatened to like flood the phone lines 24/7. What we need to be able to do is to be able to like get to the information that we want, and that actually like makes us smarter and helps us make decisions, that is, no matter what the system, right, is buried somewhere, right? Because there's no media that we interact with without some kind of filter, right? You go to the library, what do? You don't pick a book at random off the shelf. You go to the old Dewey Decimal System, and you look it up on the index cards, and then you ask a librarian to explain to you how it works and find the book for you, right?
Yeah.
When you watch TV, right, if there were no filter, it would just be static. Right, but that's not how we watch TV. We got the remote, and we go to the channel that has Wheel of Fortune on it, because we want to watch Wheel of Fortune. A lot of what we mistake for as free speech issues are actually signal to noise ratio issues. That's my big brain take.
No, I like that. No, absolutely. And yeah, to kind of seamlessly transition, I guess, into discussing my issues, the big thing for me is this, and I thought about this recently, but people will say things like, oh, well, they're censoring those people, and people say, what about the left? Well, this is happening anyway. Like, the left are getting censored anyway. And it's like, yeah, but don't you want that to stop? Like, this isn't an argument for us to just be like, oh yeah, fucking go nuts, censor that person. It's an argument to say we need to find a way to stop this. And you know,
that would be an amazing segment into us talking about your issues.
Yeah.
But I don't want to transition. I want to step on your transition, because you mentioned some controversy you ran into in January. I legitimately don't know what it was. I've been out of the loop, so I got to catch up with my friends.
Oh damn. Well, okay, damn. That's how to tell you about this for the first time. Okay, so to put it really simply, okay, in mid-January, someone came out and made some accusations against me. Okay. Yeah, and the accusations
was it that you're too handsome and charming?
No, unfortunately not. No. The accusations were essentially that I had groomed them. Okay. Yeah. Now,
always a good start.
Always a good start. So basically,
that's one of those terms that when I hear, my automatic default is not to believe victims. Just full disclosure, when I hear the grooming word, my first response is not to believe the victims. I have to be brutally honest about this.
Okay, well that's quite a spicy take, but in any case, I mean, I think in this case it's fairly valid because like basically this person had lied in my Discord and lied to me about their age. They were 17 and had said that they were over 18. Okay. So we'd engaged in what I felt at the time was a consensual back and forward discussion of like sometimes a sexual nature, and basically these screenshots that were screenshots shared from our private conversation. Now when they first
she did you dirty. She or he did you dirty.
She. So when they first, I mean, look, I'm not gonna comment on that. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel that if I made someone feel uncomfortable, even if I felt at the time it was consensual, that's legitimate, and I'll take that and I'll say, look, I'm sorry for making, and I apologize for that. I said, I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. I'm sorry, if I acted inappropriately with you. Obviously, I won't do it again. That's kind of, because a few of the people came out and said that I made them feel in a similar way. In any case, like I'll take that and I'll say, look, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable or whatever. Like my understanding was consensual. Obviously, we did misunderstanding, so. That's that. But in any case, these screenshots that were shared were cropped in such a way to, even though this person in the thread had said that they lied about their age, there was discussion and conversation suggesting that I knew that they were underage when I spoke to them, as in they were 17, and I continued with the conversation anyway, even to the point where people were saying that I enjoyed the fact that this person was underage and that I was a groomer paedophile, right? And so I had to share these other screenshots which offered more context to show that, like, hey, actually, look, no, that's not what happened at all. Here's a more full, record of the conversation. And then on stream, I did a stream about it, and I showed even more context for some of the screenshots that were shared, because there were some situations where it looked like out of nowhere, I just brought sex into the conversation, and I'd been talking about sex-related stuff, and they'd been talking about something totally unrelated to that. But then when you look at the fuller context, you can see that we'd been having a sort of flirtatious sexual conversation previous to that. And, it wasn't like I was just bringing it out of nowhere. So the point is like, I don't think the person was acting in a malicious way. I can't speak for who obviously helped them to do this and release the information. Perhaps there was something going on there. I don't know. But in any case, the accusations of grooming and things like that were baseless. And obviously, I'm not going to sit there and take wrong accusations. Like if I feel something is really misleading and is disparaging and is, inflammatory about me, I can defend myself against it,
Yeah. When you say you don't think it was malicious, I mean, it sounds like they kind of lied about the situation. For instance, they said that you knew that. Oh, sorry.
Just to be clear, the person who originally made these accusations,
okay,
in the tweet thread originally said that they had lied about their age to me, but obviously people didn't read that or didn't go through the thread properly. They took this one screenshot where it looked like maybe I did or didn't know, and they took it to 110 straight away and went along that direction with it. And what kind of makes me laugh about that is you're totally disregarding what the person who's made the accusations has said. I thought this was about believing the word of the person what's been said, but you've ignored that and gone with your own narrative. And for me, I think there was whilst I've apologized to the people involved directly, and that's that. I've got no apology. I've got no fucking these people that tried to ruin me over this. Like there were people talking about me being a groomer. Some fucking YouTuber was talking about me breaking Californian penal code. Like these people.
Was that I Hypocrite?
Oh no. No, I Hypocrite was a bit later, but yeah, I Hypocrite is tweeted about this recently as well.
I Hypocrite, this like alt-right like shithead YouTuber who makes videos about like race realism, and I don't know what else he makes videos about, because I didn't even watch his debates with Justin, just just some alt-right YouTuber who like jumped on this. I know I said I didn't know what you were talking about, but I kind of a little bit knew what you were talking about. Who like jumped on this for like an opportunity to get back at you for your expose on his love of cock and ball torture.
Well, what's so funny about that, right? Is like that meme was like probably over a year ago. I can't remember when it was. I'd forgotten about it. I totally forgot it was a thing. Yeah. But there were like, 20 or 30 of us in our Discord that were all just mucking about with it. And like, like people were doing fake YouTube screenshots of videos and sending him stuff. And then when he tweeted that out, that's the first time I thought of it in a long time. And I thought, damn, I'm really living rent free in this dude's head for him to tweet out something like this. So yeah, that was, if anything, like, that made me laugh.
I'm glad to see that I Hypocrite is so concerned with the well-being of the victims of sexual violence.
Well, I mean, the thing for me is like when people like that, like I'm not going to take lessons in ethics from like some far right fucking whack job. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck would I do that? Like, I saw one guy. Literally in his fucking bio on Twitter, he says he's a national socialist criticizing me. And I'm like, dude, you're a fucking lit. You call yourself a Nazi. You really think I'm going to take ethics lessons from you? Fuck off.
It's very important that we all make ourselves accountable to anonymous strangers on the internet. And this story exemplifies exactly why that is. Please, hand over your receipts, your income statements, your expense reports, so that strangers on the internet, anonymous strangers on the internet, can scrutinize it and make sure that you're up to code. Now, see, I want to circle back to something on that, because when you say that you apologize for making someone feel uncomfortable, I feel like that's one of those nebulous accusations that fuels a lot of this. I felt uncomfortable. Well, like, you're not saying I did anything here. Like, you felt uncomfortable. That sucks. No one wants to be uncomfortable, but I don't know. I have a limited power over how you feel.
Well, I think that, like, obviously these some of these accusations were baseless, and I evidenced that fully that they were baseless. Mm-hmm. So that's what we were kind of left with, is like maybe they felt I was creepy, or they felt this or that. I do think it's worth pointing out that, third-party analysis from, unbiased parties came to the conclusion that, I hadn't done anything wrong, and these were consensual encounters, and yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Now, I obviously, I'm not in a position to kind of, I don't want to be in a position where I'm kind of pushing back really hard against, the idea that I've made someone uncomfortable. If I've done that, I'd rather just apologize for it, and then we can hopefully move on, which is what I did.
But did it help? Let me ask you this: did it help you move on?
Well, I think what it enabled me to do.
Because there are assholes out there who will use the apology as ammunition against you.
Oh yeah, I saw one person on Twitter say, "Well, we apologise, so we must have done something wrong."
Yep.
And at that point, this is the thing, right? There was a number of people who were happy to just flip a switch, and it's like we'd never been friends. They just disassociated from me in every way you can imagine, like unfollowed me, left my Discord, stopped talking to me, which is fine. If that's what you want to do, that's fine.
That's but the like, cost of doing business, did that before.
Yeah, exactly. But that's like the people were doing that before they even heard my side of the story.
Mm-hmm. Right. Listening to an offender's side of the story is violence.
I mean, well, this is the thing, right? And I like, I think it was it Gushin? I think Gushin said something on Twitter along the lines. I don't want to get into these other people and stuff, but I remember particularly Gushin was a particularly notable critic of what was going on.
Yeah, I don't know who that is, by the way, but go on.
Okay, it's just left YouTuber. Yeah. They were like they said. It's supposed to be believe women, not believe women unless it's someone I like. And it's like, no, believe women doesn't just mean you blindly believe what a person says. It means you take what they say seriously, and Can I
take another crack at that? People should stop saying believe women, because it's a bad slogan. I've heard people try to like rescue it in the same sense as like Black Lives Matter, being like Black Lives Matter doesn't mean only Black Lives Matter. That makes sense. Like people are reading things into the slogan that's not there. But believe women, it seems to me, just pretty much a clumsy slogan, and it doesn't mean take accusations seriously. Just people should just stop saying it, in my opinion.
Okay, that's
you don't have to sign off on that one. That's all a lot. That's 100% Logic guy.
No, sure. The difficulty I've got is like in all of this, I still, I guess, worry, and I don't want to be seen as someone who's going back on what I said and going back on my apology, because I stand by everything that I've said about it, you know, and I do, you know, hope that you know people see that. But it's like I feel a bit uncomfortable about speaking my mind on this, because it's you know I don't want to become like, you know, the guy who has done this thing and then he's made this apology, but then later he's going on a show and he's saying all this other stuff about it. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to stand by what I've said. But one thing
I think that your response makes a lot of sense too, because, you know, like if someone feels uncomfortable, you know, it's a friendly thing to do, to especially if there's like an issue where they're underage and you didn't know, you know, it's a friendly way to kind of put it behind you. I just worry about once it turns into a whole public thing. I get very, you know, defensive.
Yeah, sure, and it did definitely become a very, very public thing that you know everyone was talking about, and I feel like the dramatization of it, which is what essentially happened, you know, it became this drama rather than what it should have been. It actually becomes like much like it does a disservice to the people that are making the actual accusations, because people are just then talking about it for their own ends and they're doing these tweet threads about it, and I become the persona non grata on Twitter, and everyone wants to dunk on me and everyone wants to say they're disassociating from me, that they're in that kind of group. Do you know what I mean? And sorry, I want to make one quick point as well. Is like, you know, whilst I stand by like my apology of the people involved, like anyone else that like got involved off the back of it and was trying to, you know, spread this misinformation, like fuck them.
Yeah, they're fucking,
you know,
they're fucking like, weasels. The parasites, the barnacles who come on and cling to this stuff after the fact, who aren't even personally involved and half the time don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Those people are all fucking goons.
No, absolutely. And but yeah, it was really surreal because it all was going down. Basically, I went to sleep at like 10 p.m. for like a nap or something. I don't know what was going through my mind. I went to sleep anyway. Woke up at like midnight. And I had like about 50 messages on Twitter and Discord, all of them saying, you're fucked, what's going on? Like, have you seen Twitter? Are you okay? What's happening? Blah, blah, blah. Well, not really, you okay? More just like, you're fucked. Like, what is the situation? Like, it was fucking wild. And obviously I was half asleep, wake up, I was like, what the fuck? What do they mean? What are they talking about? Because in my perspective, like, I think if you know you've done something wrong, like if you're at work and you know you've done something wrong and you're trying to hide it, and then you get called to the manager's office, you know you fucked up, so you're aware of what it's going to be. But with this, I had no fucking clue of what it was that I'd done that would, you know, bring about this thing. Anyway, I checked, and the first thing that I thought when I saw it is these screenshots don't seem like an accurate representation of what happened in these conversations. And then, you know,
it was your second thought. Once I explain that on Twitter, this whole thing will be tied up in a neat little bow. It will, I'm sure, resolve the entire thing. I think that while this was going on, this was in the midst of my fever dreams, and I'm pretty sure one of my fever dreams was a psychic link with you about this situation.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm realizing that now. I didn't have the information necessary to put that together before, but now that you're saying it, it all the pieces are clicking together.
No, that's interesting. I mean, I think that what the thing is for me is like, because I was going through this and like trying to figure out what I was going to do, and then someone sends me a message, "Hey, Destiny's talking about you on stream," and I'm just like, "Oh my god!
No! Was Destiny on your side? I'm going to guess he was.
Yeah, Destiny was like, you know, more on my side than I would have expected anyone to be. You know, he did, and this ended up on YouTube as well as a YouTube clip, and it was like, you know, looking at Chud Logic's allegations, and it's just so surreal to see yourself in that position where you're the one, when you become the story, you know. Yeah, I watched his coverage, and to be honest, you know, I'd had quite a few people coming at me and having a go at me. It was kind of cathartic to hear Destiny defend me. I'm not going to lie.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, I'm not on board with this. Like for a long time, I've watched Destiny's content. I don't always agree with him, but I do think he makes interesting content and worthwhile content that's worth watching, especially if you want to get like a different perspective on things. So I'm not really on the. You know, I've never really been on the whole fuck Destiny train. I've always been more mixed views on it. you know, but you know, seeing him defend me was good. But then the thing is I kind of thought, well, hang on a sec, like it's great that there's some defending here, but I see all the people in chat, and I'm like, those people are going to go and fuck with these people that have made these accusations. And then the clip of Destiny talking about it ended up on live stream fails and got like 2,000 upvotes.
It's a vicious cycle, man. There's no way to win the game. The Twitter house always wins, man. The content chain cannot be unbroken. It can't. It's really insidious. It's interesting because Destiny actually played a role in my Twitter hiatus. So there were kind of two events that made me really despondent about the left. One of them was the Democratic primary. You know, watching Bernie go down in flames, and not just that Biden won, but that I realized that the Bernie coalition, i.e. the left, was a lot more fragile than I realized, and that I actually was not up until the you know, South Carolina or whatever. I was very bullish on Bernie in the general, and I realized, like, after watching that and watching the way people responded, I realized I am not confident about Bernie and the left. I actually have a lot of worries about how we as a community would handle ourselves in the general. Specifically, I was in a group chat with a bunch of people who when Biden condemned like the riots that had happened and like the burning down of businesses, and they were just like very militant about this. Like, and I'm not a Biden guy. I did not vote for Biden in the general election or the primary for that matter, for reasons that are my own. But, you know, they're saying these like terrible things about like what a piece of shit he is. And I'm thinking, like, you know, Bernie has basically said the exact same things. And in fact, anyone who's going to be involved in electoral politics, you have to condemn violent riots that burn down people's businesses, right? If you're in electoral politics, then you condemn that. That's how electoral politics works. And I really wonder, like, if Bernie had won the nomination, he would be, there's not a doubt in my mind, he would have been up there saying essentially the same things because he said them when he wasn't the nominee. How would these people be reacting? Maybe they would be like, well, when Bernie says it, it's different. Maybe. Or maybe they would just be like, oh, never mind, fuck Bernie, I'm gonna like fucking bail. And I was
gonna say, you know, sorry to cut you off, but I think it might be more the latter, because I think one thing I saw, this was a very fleeting thing I saw on Twitter. Someone was complaining because Bernie voted against defunding the police. I don't
think there was a vote on that. I think he just said something against defunding the police.
Oh, did he? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a vote about that.
Yeah. You know, I don't know the circumstances of it precisely, but you know, people have got this impression that like Bernie is some radical, and some of his policies are pretty radical. But you're absolutely right. Like, of course, he's not going to be able to come out and go, "Yeah, let's fucking go out and burn those businesses down. Let's fucking go communism now." Like, obviously not. People seem to think that their like insular view on politics that they can express freely on Twitter, broadly, more or less, quite freely, is like something that's like shared widely or that can be discussed publicly without being completely but it's not true. The vast majority of the American public are going to be like, oh, you know, the idea of a revolution, the idea of like violence on the streets, they're going to find that despicable. And you've got to appreciate that if you want to not just win a fucking election, but if you want to win people over to your side. Like, the average American isn't interested in Stalin apologetics or talking about Mao's China. Like, you know, you need to reach out to them in a meaningful way that they can understand and appreciate. And I think a lot of people really miss that, and they just want to fucking LARP on Twitter or whatever bullshit they want to talk about, you know?
And adding on to that point, which I absolutely agree with, you have to figure out are you a radical revolutionary or are you someone invested in electoral politics? And it can't really be both. Yeah. I'm not saying that if you're a radical revolutionary, you can't vote. No, I don't believe that at all. Sure. But if you're voting like as like a lark or something, like you either put your faith in a people's revolution, or it's it's electoral politics and giving stump speeches and sending money to your favorite candidate and getting out the vote. These aren't compatible worldviews. These aren't compatible strategies. They are at odds with one another. Again, you can be an electoral politics guy and go to the march. You can be the radical revolutionary and pull the lever for whatever fucking candidate you want. But ultimately, you have to figure out which is the master you're serving. And if you're a big Corbyn supporter or a big Bernie supporter, then you're not a radical revolutionary. You're participating in the process, and that means that you can't stand on a table and call for burning down your neighborhood grocery store. That's what that means. You need to figure out which of these two things you're. I want to go off on this even longer, but except that I was getting to a point about Destiny, where I want to. It hopefully won't take too long. But the thing. So I was depressed about that, and as the more the election went on, the more depressed about that I was, and then. One night, it was the middle of the night, and our buddy Lubed Waffle sent me a Destiny video to watch. And I have watched very little Destiny content. I'm not a stream. No offense, Chud Logic. I'm really not much of a streamer guy. I'm more of a video essay guy. I'm more of a I want to watch this 1.5 hour long video about the Tumblr Sherlock community circa 2014. That's more my bag.
Okay, I got you.
Right. So he sent me this classic Destiny video that I'm sure you've seen. I had never seen it before.
Okay.
It was the video where Xander Hall called in to debate Destiny about his fight with Vaush. I think this was like 1.5 hours long. I watched the entire thing, and then a few days later, I watched it again. That's what a big impression this made on me.
If you're not a streamer person, that's like high level stuff. That's going to give you psychic brain damage if you watch that and you're not into streamer stuff. Okay. It
did give me high level brain damage. I can assure you that my brain is still in recovery mode from it. I don't know if it's ever going to come out. I don't know. No, I'm sorry. I know exactly how to explain the dynamic between Xander Hall and Destiny. We've all heard of parasocial relationships. We all know about this, where you think that the YouTuber guy you watch is your friend, right? Xander has formed a parasocial parental relationship with Destiny. He's talking to Destiny like Destiny is his dad and Vaush is his mom, and they're getting a divorce. And he is pleading with Destiny, you got to get back together. You don't understand. That's not what Vaush meant. They didn't mean that. No. He still loves you, Destiny. Don't you understand? He still loves you. We can be a family again. And the more he pleads with him, the more cynical Destiny is. He's like, look, man, you're like 20, right? Like, okay, I get it. You're a 20-year-old kid. Okay, hopefully you're gonna grow out of this in a few years. And Xander, that just causes Xander to get more emotionally invested. It's like I want to compare it to the end of Old Yeller, where the kid has to shoot the dog, and the kid is like crying and in tears. But that would, if Xander is the dog, if Xander's Old Yeller, Destiny was not in tears. Destiny had no problem pulling the trigger, and it was just brutal, and it was just right. Like he kept like the mental unhealthiness of left Twitter and these relationships was so transparently on display, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I was like, am I Xander Hall? Is this what I'm doing? Is Chud Logic and Natalie Wynn? Is Chud my dad and Natalie my mom? Is that what's going on here? It caused me to look deep within my soul, and I did not like what I found.
No, that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that, and it was yeah. I mean, for me, who's kind of into all the drama and knows all the ins and outs of it, it was hard for me to watch because I was like, like I know Xanderhal gets a lot of criticism, but Xanderhal's like, like a young dude who is trying to do the best that he can for himself, and fair play to him. Does he always get it right? No, but he tries, and I think he can become better and move forward and whatnot. So watching him have that conversation and just be spoken to in that way by Destiny, I was just like, this fucking sucks. Like, I felt bad for him. I thought about what I would be like at when I was in my early 20s and having that conversation with someone who's such a big figure in the kind of my media, my life. It'd be hard and it'd be tough. And I totally understand why you would have had that reaction to it.
You're the diplomat of left, the internet left. You're always flawlessly diplomatic. Destiny's really kind of cruel to the guy, but at the same time, he's just right. Like Xander had invested himself in this community that was a lie. He made up these like online friends of his, and then when they fought, it was like a divorce for him. It's like dude, get outside, go do something else, go ziplining with your uncles. This is not a healthy thing to be doing with your life.
I mean, sure, I think that at the end of the day, Xanderhal felt like he was stuck in between these two people. And the thing with it for me as well, like, now, from what I can understand, Vosh and Destiny have to some degree, sorted things out. Like, I know that Vosh watches Destiny streams now, and he's in chat and they interact with one another. So, yeah, I feel like this. But do
they hang out with Xanderhal when they do it though?
I mean, I know Vosh and Xanderhal are friends. I don't know what Xanderhal and Destiny's interactions are like, but I think that like there is some genuine relationship going on there. It's not. Don't misunderstand it. Don't think that Xanderhal is just like hopelessly worried about Vosh to no return. Like, I know that Vosh and Xanderhal are friends. And I've spoken to Xanderhal at numerous points a number of times about different things. And yeah, like I say, that's where I base my ideas that he's. I think. For me, having gone through the process of like having this attention on me and having people talk about me and knowing things people are saying are wrong, it puts every other drama that I've ever witnessed in a new light, including with people like Xander or people like Bosch, and it's made me reflect on, and don't get me wrong, I've never been supportive of this activity or behavior, but like, I guess maybe I've not really thought through about how people can twist things and how it can be so harmful to one person to go through that process. And it's like, now I understand it. And for example, there was a controversial stream that Vosh did where he spoke badly of like certain types of people on the left and certain LGBT people on the left, and was very critical of certain mindsets and certain modes of operation. And I think about it now and I think, whilst I disagree with some of the wording and framing, I understand where the frustration comes from, having interacted and experienced like more close interactions with the people myself, and they drive you fucking insane if you let them, and that's why you've got to be so firm to just be like, you know what, fuck you and fuck off, otherwise they'll just fucking fuck with you. I don't know.
Yeah, I do know, because I experienced it on a very, very minor level.
Okay.
We should get to Ford Fisher and YouTube.com.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, man. I think I have this Fox News story up here in one of my million tabs.
Okay. Well, I mean, to get started, I can
give like my side of the take us into it.
Okay, so I'll tell my side of the story. So on this week on Tuesday, was it? I believe. Basically, hang on, wait a sec. I want to be accurate in what I say. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday. Or was it Wednesday? No, I think it was actually Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I received in the morning. I received an email from Twitter. It's not from Twitter. I received an email from YouTube, and essentially they said that this video that I did like 10 months ago, a serious QAnon analysis, which is kind of a meme video laughing at QAnon. They said that it was in breach of community guidelines, and I'd received a warning on my channel, a community guidelines warning.
Did you get is that a strike?
No. It's like the first, before you get a strike, you get a warning on a first offense. Right. And so essentially all they're saying to you is like, you messed up here, please don't do it again. Otherwise, we'll issue a strike, and that'll have an impact on the channel. And, you know, I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, you know, at the time, initially, I thought, fair enough, I've made a mistake. It doesn't seem that big a deal, and I'll move on about it. I thought it was a bit weird. It was such an old video, but whatever. Anyway, later that day, I received an email saying that my entire channel had been demonetized without any warning whatsoever. And obviously, at that point, I was like, well, damn, like this is like absurd. Like I started to obviously panic a bit and think, what the hell is going on?
Now, Chud, have you thought that they're a private business and they're allowed to do what they want? Did that occur to you?
I mean, I'll be honest, in all this, thinking about those sorts of arguments just made me irrationally angry. Well, probably rationally angry, really. But they pissed me off. I was just like, I cannot believe that there's some people who have made the most stupid arguments about this. And to be fair, I felt that my saving grace was like, at least I'm not one of those people that says dumb shit like that. Do you know what I mean? At least those words have never unironically exited my lips, and no one can accuse me of hypocrisy and being concerned about it when it happens to me. That was like the saving grace in all this, I suppose.
Hold on, I want to read something real quick. Private companies can do whatever they want isn't a leftist argument. Do you know who said that?
Yes, me. I said that. Oh my god.
Irrational. Well, no, your friend Irrational Chad on Twitter said that on January 5th, 2021. Yeah, I retweeted that because I thought that was very, very well put. Anyways, yeah. So you got demonetized by the woke capitalists at YouTube.com.
Yeah, right. And the thing is, as well, is like, I want people to understand that when you get deplatformed from a thing like that, when you get demonetized, that's like the equivalent of going into work one day and them telling you that because of an unspecified crime that you've committed in the company, they'll be docking your pay by 50% going forward for the rest of your employment. You know, that's because that's essentially what it represents, more or less. And I hope people understand that. Like, it's not just like, you know, oh, well, you broke the TOS, your private company, blah, blah. Without warning, my pay, my income has been significantly affected. And they're not even telling me what specifically I did. And they're not even telling me what specifically I need to do to fix it. They're saying I can reapply in 30 days if I act on their feedback. Their feedback is literally, you have released harmful content. You know, you need to review it and delete any offending content without telling me what that is. So they're thinking that I've got to go...
Who was offended? Where is the offended party here? I really think that the most nefarious thing about all of this is the complete lack of transparency, because none of these companies have clearly stated terms of service. They contradict each other. There's almost always a part where they say that, you know, fuck you, we can take you down for anything, or we can just change all of our policies tomorrow, so fuck off, asshole. And they don't tell you why they're taking you down. There should be a wiki. Every one of these platforms that should have a wiki that lists every strike that they've ever given and the reason why, so that the public can look it up. That should be mandatory, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree with something like that. Absolutely, just something that gives some visibility to people. Yeah. And
another point I want to make is you're absolutely right. Like to explain like the financial impact of this on someone like you. But there's another ramification too, which is this: people are always like, well, you can still make the videos, you just can't monetize. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. Great. But guess what? What kind of content gets monetized creates incentives for what kind of content gets made. So if you can make right-wing content and it's monetized, or apolitical content and it's monetized, but left-wing content is not monetized, guess what's going to get drowned out, right? There might still be left-wing content, but it's going to be a trickle, and it's going to be completely lost and buried under the volumes of content. And that's an insidious part of this that people don't want to wrestle with. Yeah,
absolutely. You know, this is going to have a significant impact going forward, because obviously I can't take the risk to just release whatever I think is like appropriate. I'm going to have to really restrict like some of the messaging that I do, and I won't be able to talk about certain things. Like, I'm not going to speak about controversial cult stuff like QAnon. I mean, that's not maybe as relevant going forward, but stuff like that comes about, I'm not going to feel comfortable talking about that and putting it on YouTube. And at the end of the day,
and that's what happens with like white nationalism and white supremacist movements, because they get or even like historical content about the Nazis. That stuff gets demonetized, and people don't want to make content about it anymore. I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is as well is like, this is the other insidious thing too. The problem you've got is YouTube don't just say you can't have ad revenue because it's offensive to like advertisers or whatever. They demonetize your entire channel. So you can't monetize your streams. You can't get super chats. You can't get like any of the monetizations options that YouTube offer. So yeah, you can't even say, well, you can still get this from YouTube. They're switching the tap off completely. And it's like, but that doesn't make any sense, right? Because it's like you're saying that it's bad for advertisers or whatever, but on the same hand, it's not just the advertising that's affected; it's everything. Like if someone wishes to give me money, like through a super chat, because this is another funny thing that happened as well, right? Someone else, obviously, we can get into other people's stuff, but other people have been affected by this, and someone sent an email to YouTube and said, "Hey, you've taken $70 worth of super chats from my viewers, which I'm now not going to receive."
Yeah, where did the money go?
Are you going to refund that? Yeah. And they're like, no, we're not going to refund the money. And you're like, but that's not your money. That's supposed to be my money, and I'm not going to get it because I don't hit the criteria to pay out.
How is that even legal? It doesn't seem like that. Like, it seems like that's just theft.
Yeah,
like
sure. I wonder if
are we supposed to believe that this was like a Nico House type of channel? So I don't necessarily like the content creators, but are we supposed to believe that the Tulsi stands were donating money to Google? No, of course they fucking weren't. That's not where they were sending their money to.
So yeah, it's a very difficult situation, and for me, I hope it demonstrates. I hope people revise their positions and their views about like big tech, and they come to realize that just because they're a big company, they shouldn't be able to do what they want. And
specifically
also,
because they're a big company, they shouldn't be allowed to do what they want. This is what's the word, like water and electricity. This is come on, I really wish I could remember this word, but this is a public service that we rely on. That is a utility. Thank you, Chud Logic. Yes, this is a utility that we rely on for so many things. It can't just be under the thumb of like 6 billionaire goons. There needs to be some sort of regulation so that this works for the people and for democracy. And right now, you can't tell me that that's who these tech companies are serving.
Well, no, of course. Like, these things are a great tool, and the kind of amusing thing about it is YouTube was supposed to be the democratization of media. The whole point of it was anyone can upload anything, and obviously, like I say,
the internet was supposed to be this grand adventure of democratizing information, and I have to say it's been rather disappointing.
No, absolutely, it has been disappointing. And like I say, in any case, I sort of saw this happen. I was frustrated by it, and then I came to realize like this is a much bigger issue than me, and loads of different channels have actually been demonetized. And this is what's funny about it. It's at precisely the same time. Everyone got their demonetization email at, I think it's 2 p.m. 2 hours 18 minutes p.m. Eastern time. So
wow, I didn't realize that.
I don't want to put. Yeah, I don't want to put my tinfoil hat on or anything. Maybe there's some automation that happened that meant that happened that way. But it seems weird to me that on Twitter, the team YouTube account, which is absolutely useless, by the way, is suggesting that each channel was reviewed independently and the decision was made independently. And it's like, well, if that's the case, why was it switched off at the same time for every channel? That doesn't add up to me,
Yep. Yeah, and then you decided to platform some far right websites and retweet them on your Twitter channel. What's going on there, pal? What were you thinking?
Well, I mean, I tweeted them out in a fairly neutral way. I didn't like say, "Oh, Fox News is amazing," or "Oh, Fox News sucks," but it was just like Fox News are reporting on this. And I think for me, like, when it comes, you know, I watched actually a video on stream about this yesterday about the hypocrisy of the free speech warriors. And they've got their own ends, they got their own goals. They hate big tech, they hate the you know, for other reasons. And they say dumb things like it only affects conservatives and all this kind of stuff. And obviously it doesn't. So when I see articles from those sorts of publications, you know, my only interest is that they're bringing attention to this. That's it. That's all I care about. You know, I'm not on Fox News' side. Blaze, obviously, media sucks. Fucking.
Here, I'm going to read an irrational Chad tweet. It says, "Well," and then there's a link to the Blaze.com reporting on this issue. The main guy that they're talking about is Ford Fisher, who's this independent journalist who goes to like protests and goes to these big events and shoots lots of video, kind of like Tim Pool circa like 2013 or thereabouts. Do you know Ford?
I don't know Ford's work. I only know them from this incident, and I've got to say, like, I'm pretty impressed with their kind of willingness to try and push for the little guys, even when they themselves got sorted. Because I think the reality is it's twofold. Ford Fisher got remonetized because there was attention on him from these applications. And secondary to that, the only reason there was this attention is because he is bipartisan and goes and films like far-right rallies in a neutral manner. So he's not there to decry or support. He literally just films what's going on and to YouTube.
I wouldn't say he's bipartisan. I would say he's doing journalism. His job isn't to tell everyone that these are the bad people. Yeah. His job is to document what's going on there. And oftentimes like there's an example that's talked about in this Fox News article that you irresponsibly platformed, where he's at the January 6th riots, and he's filming. Trump is talking, and he's filming Trump, but he's filming the audience as well, and they have all the signs up, right? The stop the steal signs, and YouTube deemed that because those signs were up, he was spreading misinformation without proper context. Now, what exactly the misinformation was, not specified, but and this is another thing that I think Matt Taibbi brought up, is that, so he's an independent journalist. Now he sells videos to a lot of like documentarians and stuff that's on like NPR and stuff like that. But a lot of like big news channels, CNN type stuff, in some cases they would have the exact same video, like that their own people shot, but essentially the same content, and he would get demonetized and they wouldn't. So there's preferential treatment towards like the big guys. This has actually been going on with Ford. He and I are mutuals. We talk occasionally. I should have him on, actually. I have all these like big mutuals, and like, and like these like brilliant content creators. I never think to like have them on. Instead, I'm like, oh, here's a guy who I got in a disagreement with about Bean Dad. I'll have him on, and we can hash it out. I need to tap into my my friends a little bit more. I don't know Ford very well. We've had a handful of DMs, and we've been mutuals for a while. But the big tech platforms are playing favorites. They're giving preferential treatment to CNN while fucking over Ford Fisher.
I think for me, my read on that is that YouTube are obviously deeply concerned with their pockets and ad revenue. So they want to sanitize, this is pure conjecture. Okay. I don't have any data or evidence. Okay. This is why. These
are facts that you're getting straight from the source. Everyone take this as gospel, please. Go on.
But I think it strikes me that YouTube are looking to sanitize their platform, right? If you look at there's actually, I've found out there's some recent changes that they've made to their like advertising guidelines, and some of them are quite subtle. and it's like, I wonder if that's been applied retroactively, and that's why everyone's actually been banned. But in any demonetized. But in any case, I think that they talk about having more stuff from authoritative sources, which is fine. I agree that the mainstream media can be an authoritative source on things. I think that they want to kind of sanitize it though, and they want to have less risk on their platform, and that's probably why they're doing this. But
and this has been a trend going on ever since like the 2014 adpocalypse. Like I think of like YouTube before that as like, it was like a gold rush. People were like, hey, I can go onto YouTube and I can make content, and people were making huge amounts of money because there really wasn't a lot of oversight or monitoring what the content was. You could just apply for AdSense, and then you got revenue coming in. And then with the adpocalypse, they started. That was like the first big push into really cracking down. And to some extent, it was inevitable. And I remember thinking this at the time. I was a lot more naive back then. I thought, all these channels, the Sargons, all the channels I watched, my favorite channels, Sargon of Akkad, Chris Raygun, Computing Forever, all my favorite 2014 channels. Bearing, who else? All the great guys. They all build themselves as alternative media, but essentially by just taking like the ad revenue, they have the exact same business model as like CNN and MSNBC. Essentially, this isn't. You could tell if you think it through. This isn't a sustainable position, and I still think that that's sort of right. It is inevitable that a platform like YouTube is going to eventually have to pick. Are we, going with the networks and the TV and the legacy media, or are we a platform for independent creators? And I think it's absolutely inevitable that every platform is going to get to that point eventually. And it's fine for YouTube to want to be, the network platform. That's fine. But the problem is that there aren't competitors to cater to the independent platforms. And that's the crisis that we're seeing in this situation, in my opinion, because they're too big. So there's no room in the market for them. We've got to break them up. We've got to break them up.
I totally agree with you. And if you look at, because alternatives are so lacking, you end up where the people that get banned from YouTube tend to, at the moment, broadly speaking, be the most extreme types of content, like your Nazis, like your rape surrealists, blah, blah, blah. So you end up in situations where these alternatives are just packed to the brim with all these like super far right fucking, whack jobs. And there's not really room. Like, I wouldn't see myself going to BitChute. Like, a Nazi's going to fucking watch my video. A far right people going to watch my video. Probably not. So, like, what's the point, And people joke about it. And it's like, yeah, it is kind of a joke. Like, imagine me trying to shield my BitChute channel. It would just be absurd. So there needs to be some alternative. And I think that there needs to be some degree of nationalization, or the government needs to get more heavily involved in this stuff, to be honest.
So this is a debate that we had on your channel when I was on that big tech censorship platform where Ben Burgess, who we're both big fans of, and he's another guy who I should have on, because I talked to him after about like continuing the debate, but he was pushing for nationalization. I was pushing for breaking things up, and he pointed out that these two positions, they're not necessarily exclusive, like one doesn't exclude the other, but they're not necessarily in agreement either. They're different philosophical approaches to the problem, and I can see benefits and I can see drawbacks to both. But the point I wish I had an opportunity to make this point during the panel, but there's a lot of people, everyone wants to talk, and it was really kind of probably a little too in depth. It's more for like maybe a one-on-one conversation between me and him. But one of the biggest problems I see in the tech landscape is there was this incident or event from a few years back where Facebook changed their algorithm so it benefited, or it amplified video content over the written word. And there's nothing on the face of it wrong with that. That's not like a bad decision, right? You can't say like, oh no, written content is better than video content. so they made this change, and all the content makers, all the news sites scrambled to convert their platform to video, right? Because we got to do video now. Facebook's is gonna bury us if we don't do video. So they all invested tons of money in pushing their platforms to video, and they did it, and then Facebook changed it back, and tons of websites went out of business because of this. Right now, neither one of those decisions is on the face of it wrong. I don't think that they shouldn't be able to make these decisions, but in having so much power consolidated in Facebook, right, which especially at the time was like the news site for people. That's where people got their news. You allowed them to dictate the entire news journalism field, and that's just a problem of being too big to fail. It doesn't matter what the decisions you make are. The decisions you make dictate the entire industry, and that's not a democratic situation. And that's something that I think can only be solved through breaking up. That's the argument I was going to make to Ben.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know. I think really kind of established the thing I think about it though, right? And the thing for me is, like, I've had a principled position on this for a long time now, and it didn't make any difference. Like, they still came for me. And if you don't have a principled position and you are just like, oh, get rid of the baddies, keep the goodies, like, they'll come for you, you know? And it's like, it doesn't make any difference what we think about, and we can have these discussions, and that's fine. Like, I love talking about this stuff. But the reality is, like, it's action that will change it. And it's like, what action do we actually take to amend this and correct this? Because at the moment, it just seems like we're all just getting angry with each other on these platforms, making the money off of our struggle, you know? Like, I don't know.
Our struggle, yes. We must continue. I must continue my struggle. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Well, you know, obviously, maybe that wasn't the best word to use, but, like, one thing that frustrates me, and I've come to realize this now in particular, like, why have we made such a joke? I know it's in response to, like, you know, the intellectual dark web or whatever, but this free speech meme, like, we joke about free speech.
Oh my God,
like,
I hate fucking free speech. I hate it. Oh my God.
It's like, but you understand, like, free speech is actually unironically a very important cornerstone of our society. Like, you make a joke out of it, but it's extremely serious, and there's a lot at stake from it. Like, you know, look at societies where you don't have free speech. Look at societies where you can literally be executed by the state for being an atheist or whatever it is, you know? And it's like, that's the consequences of not having free speech. And you're sat there with the First Amendment protections, right? Sat there on fucking your social media laughing and joking about it. It's like, this is life and death for some people. And I don't think some people really get that. And even if it's not life and death, it can be extremely serious, right? Like, we've got some free speech issues in the UK for different reasons. And it's like, you know, it's kind of a bit, pisses me off a bit when I see Americans joking about it. So you've got the First Amendment. You can fucking, you know, you've got your protection. So stop making a fucking mockery of it, you know?
Well, Chud, but what you don't understand is that really what the First Amendment does is uphold whiteness and male privilege. That's what you really it's cis het white dude privilege is really what the First Amendment is. I'm getting into really IDW territory here, so I'm gonna back off from that. But, like, yeah, I mean, the way the left speaks about free speech pisses the fuck out of me, because it drips with derision, and they don't take the ideas seriously. And what we see here is, and I don't entirely agree with your characterization of Ford. I think he is a left-wing content creator. I just think first and foremost he's a journalist. Maybe he would disagree with. Just
that's fine. Just to be clear, like, I'm not trying to disparage him in any way.
No, you didn't come off like you were, but yeah. But it doesn't matter. I mean, I might even be wrong. I should ask him. But right. So we've got this situation where people like him are being deplatformed from YouTube or whatever, and the people covering it are like, have you I mean, you looked into it more than I have. Are there any big left of center websites like talking about this, or is it just The Blaze and Fox News?
There was one publication. I think Ford Fisher actually mentioned them. But basically, I think it was like a large kind of centre-left publication. I can't remember exactly. But in any case, there might be more that have come out now. I'm not 100%. But in any case, it was funny because they reported on it saying that in an effort to fight disinformation, YouTube have taken this action. Right, Jesus, and it's like, but Ford Fish's video is raw footage of the event. How is that disinformation? That is like that's the best primary source you could imagine. You're literally just got unedited footage that isn't being commented on of the event happening. It doesn't get better than that. That is it.
That is such an example of saying the quiet part loud, because what they mean by that is the left has gone. I'm sorry, I don't usually like to generalize, but so much of the left has gone all in on this idea that that big tech is going to protect us from the scourge of disinformation and extremism. And I don't want to call it a moral panic, because I don't think that I'm actually worried about disinformation and extremism. I think they're real problems. But what I object to is this idea that big tech is going to protect us from this. That is a dangerously foolish and naive position. That you're gullible if you think that these people aren't doing anything. First of all, these people are first and foremost going to protect their interests, and secondly, every time they intervene to like stop disinformation or something, they do so in the most bumbling, idiotic way possible. Like for instance, I still can't get over this, that in during the election when that Hunter Biden scandal erupted, and the New York Post was reporting on it, and Facebook, what does Facebook do? Do they quietly censor the story behind the scenes like they do with the left? No, that's not what they do. What they did was they sent one of their dumb goons on Twitter to essentially release a press announcement, a press release that don't worry, everyone, Facebook is censoring the offending content. So whatever you do, don't go to New York Post and look it up, because we're specifically that's the story we don't want you to read. Like what? The stupidity of that, I still cannot wrap my head around.
And oh my god, I remember covering, like, because Twitter censored the article itself. Like, you couldn't post the article on Twitter.
Yes. Twitter even more heavy-handedly censored the article, as opposed to just tweaking the algorithm so that and I'm not saying I don't support doing this either, but I'm saying if I wanted to censor something, if I wanted to see that it didn't get a lot of traction, I would be very quiet and sneaky about this. And the big tech companies know this, because when they censor us, when they censor the left, that's how they do it. But when they censor the right, they do it they take a megaphone and alert everyone that they're doing that they're doing it. It doesn't make any sense. But I'm sorry, go on.
I was going to say, like, I remember, like, because big tech and censorship and this kind of stuff is of great interest to me as someone on the left. I feel like it's important to talk about, and I wish more people did. But I spoke about it on stream, and I was very dubious about the reasons for which that they claimed to have removed it. They said it was like from hacking. They said this news article, we had to take it down because. And it's like, well, hang on a sec. If you're doing that, what about all the other news that exists because hacking has occurred? Are you saying that that's no good now because you're going to wipe out like a large chunk of actual really significant reporting if that's the case? And anyway, I went over it on stream and people were arguing with me saying, but all the usual stuff and things like that. And then what was funny is Twitter reversed it and said, actually, we made a mistake. We should never have censored the article. You can now post it. And I was like, well, there we fucking go. Like, I don't want to do that I told you so thing. I hate that shit. But it's like, obviously what I was saying was correct, and Twitter realized that too, probably because of the pushback. And it's like, why do people have so much blind faith in these fucking massive tech platforms? It's so frustrating, and I don't get it.
And also, it seems like whenever they do this, they never seem to stand their ground. Their story is always changing, and they almost always end up reversing themselves, which just says to me that they're just making this up on the fly, basically. Like they don't know why their story got why a story got censored. So some intern flipped a switch. Basically, it seems to be very willy-nilly. There doesn't seem to be a really strong principle behind it, which is part of the problem.
No, exactly. There isn't a strong principle behind it, and you know, and that's the frustrating thing. And I don't know. I just wish, like, would it make like a meaningful difference? Like, I'm not sure if it would necessarily to actually these things changing, but it would make discourse a hell of a lot easier if lefties could just fucking admit that it's a problem and contend with it and make lefty arguments about it, not just acquiesce to the idea that these massive conglomerates are in any way on our side to get rid of the baddies.
Yeah. If there's one change I could make on the left, if I could convince my fellow lefties of one thing, it's to give up on this idea that that the big tech companies are protecting you from disinformation and extremism. There's actually a Becca Lewis tweet I saw recently that I want to trying to find it. Do you know who Becca Lewis is? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I don't know.
Becca Lewis authored the notorious Alternative Influence Network report for Data Society. It was the thing that had all the right wing creators, like a spider web of right wing creators and how they were connected. She's you remember what I'm talking about?
I remember that. I know it was very controversial at the time. Yeah,
very, very controversial. It was, in my opinion, a pretty objectively badly done report because, for one thing, you couldn't audit it. It didn't actually list its references. So I know Tim Pool disputed that he was ever on streams with some of the people he was linked to. And is that true? Is he lying? Is she lying? Well, she doesn't list the sources, so there's actually no way to track them down. I thought it was a pretty sloppy report that also just came out and outright advocated for censorship. But she had a tweet where I think she actually might have deleted it because I think I actually retweeted it and I couldn't find it on my timeline. But she had a tweet where she was talking about a study that said, oh wait, here we go. All right. So she has a screenshot of some story. I don't know where the story is from. It says election misinformation dropped 73% following Trump's suspension from Twitter. And then it says research. Okay, and then Becca says, are we ready to talk yet about how the statistic wasn't legitimate in any meaningful way? So people are getting behind this idea that by banning Trump, they've cracked down on disinformation on Twitter. But their metrics for measuring this are complete fucking nonsense. Like, I didn't read this study. I have no idea. But I was talking with someone about like how you would measure something like this. I'm pretty sure what they did was they tabulated all of the Twitter election warnings that they slapped on Trump's tweets, which is just another ineffectual, stupid thing they did that didn't make a difference in any. It doesn't stop disinformation in any way. It probably actually helps it, if we're being honest. And they said, oh, before Trump was banned, there were this many, and after Trump was banned, there were only this many. Which means that one, you're letting Twitter decide what is and isn't disinformation, but two, that just Twitter could just stop putting those labels on things. And then, oh, look, they dropped to 0. And then Twitter can claim that they've completely solved the problem of disinformation because nothing has the label on it. It doesn't make it's a completely nonsense metric perpetuated by people who are invested in this idea that we need to empower big tech companies run by billionaire ghouls like Jack Dorsey to protect us. And the left just needs to throw this idea in the garbage. It is a bad idea, and I think we'll be 100% better off when we. It's a childish, immature idea that quivering children would cling to. We are the ones that need to advance our ideas. We're the ones that need to combat extremism in information, not Jack Dorsey.
No, exactly. You know, and like it is the problem you've got as well is like you just play into the conservative narratives, and I think you're onto something there. It's like when they because these platforms know that a vague progressive line is the most profitable way to go in today's society, right? Like just being vaguely progressive.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have rainbow capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
They know that if they go and publicly censor Trump, it's like, yeah, that's fucking base. Trump sucks. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. But they'll quietly censor leftists, you know, because they don't need to make a big public display of censoring leftists.
Which is also how you actually do censorship. The point of censorship is that people don't know about it. So if you're yelling into the microphone about how you're censoring people, you're sort of doing it wrong. Also, another thing about that story that I remember is that the guy who issued the press release alerting everyone to Facebook censorship, his Twitter bio was his whole ass resume as a Democratic Party staffer. I think he like worked for like Nancy Pelosi or just a whole bunch of people like that, which is like, what? That is not like a normal practice on Twitter. People don't put their whole fucking bio, like resume in their bio. Like why is you like take that out of your bio? What were you thinking? Why? Like it's like they intentionally did it in the most bumbling way possible. And I've seen other posts from these like Facebook stooges who, you know, censor stuff, and this seems to be like a convention they all cling to. When Brett Weinstein's dumb website got censored by Facebook, he was contacted by a Facebook representative whose name was Liz Bourgeois. I don't know why that was her name, but it was. And it's the same thing. She had her entire she was a Democratic Party staffer too, and her entire resume was stacked in her bio so that everyone who, you know, was angry about this could point to her credentials as Chuck Schumer's coffee gopher and be like, see, and like, what do you say to that? There's nothing to say to it. You're like, yeah, you're right. It looks sketchy. If Ted Cruz's if the person censoring Ford Fisher turned out to be Ted Cruz's chief of staff, what would you think about that? You'd be like, well, this looks sketchy. This looks like a conflict of interest. Of course you would. Or maybe the left would be like, well, as long as disinformation is being suppressed, then that's just the cost of doing business. I don't care who does it, just as long as Stephen Molyneux's latest video isn't allowed to go out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I absolutely see where you're coming from, and I mean, I think to recognize that, like, you know, like when Biden won the election, you know that Jack Dorsey, Mark Zuckerberg, these big tech barons, all of them were fucking breathing a slight sigh of relief. They didn't like Trump because he was proposing these totally unhinged solutions to these issues. Where, like, you know, nuclear options like getting rid of 230 protections, which would just totally wreck everything.
230 protections are absolutely an essential free speech protection that needs to be protected. So if we want to talk about like right-wing censoriousness, that's top of the list in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, that's the problem for me. It is like, you know, but now Biden's in charge. Like, I'm not sure if that's going to be a focus of their administration or it's something that's going to meaningfully change. Like, it's in Biden's interest and in the Democratic Party's interest for things to continue as they are, where you have these large platforms having these like autocratic controls over how censorious they want to be. But it's like, you know, that's my perspective anyway. And it's like, no, we need government to step in. You know, I think I see where you're coming from in terms of splitting these companies up, but I think the most realistic thing is in the short term, more regulation for these companies. Yeah. And I just don't know if that's something the Biden administration is going to be particularly interested in engaging in. Who
was the guy on the panel who was talking about like banning algorithms? Remember that?
Oh, yeah, Touring News.
Yeah. I think that is like a really underappreciated like aspect to this, because the algorithms do. People think that they're just like well, we're ranking content, but the algorithms are doing way more than people realize, and not just in promoting content, but in promoting like addictive behavior that like promotes like a lot of the unhealthy mental environment of online. Like that's a lot of what they do as well. Yeah, I think that algorithms should be heavily regulated and also made transparent. Like we should see how the sauce is made. We should know what kind of content is being pushed up and pushed down. Like that's something that the public should have access to, in my opinion.
No, I totally agree with you. You know, I think that more visibility, like, you know, because obviously I'm not saying that no one can ever be banned or no one can ever have a penalizing action taken against them. It's about the visibility of it. Like if you do something wrong in your life, in the fucking, you know, in society, in your work, there's transparency, there's visibility. You explained what law you've broken, what you've done wrong, what the punishment's going to be, how you're going to be judged and tried for it, whatever it is. But there's none of that exists on these platforms. And, you know, this argument of, oh, but no one's entitled to a platform. It's like, but these platforms give us an opportunity to go out and say our thoughts more widely and communicate with each other.
And also, people are entitled to a platform, aren't they? I mean, isn't this like a core tenet of democracy that we can all speak our mind? I don't agree that you're not entitled to a platform. Maybe not a specific platform, but the right to have your voice heard, I think, is one I believe in.
Yeah, and you know, you look at the Twitter alternative again. It's and like. I think I've got mixed views about Parler getting nuked off all of these platforms. But it's like,
that was what I was talking about when I was talking about how the left, like after January 6th, the left was really embracing stuff. I'm actually very against Parler being nuked. I have a pretty strong opinion about it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I think for me, I do understand. That
I actually completely forgot about Parler. I would have mentioned it on the top, but it's gone from my mind now.
Yeah, sure. I think, okay, so I do fall on the side that it was probably the wrong thing. However, it is worth noting that there were some measures that they were advised to take. I think Parler didn't act perfectly in all of this, right? Like I think they made mistakes in the way. But I think I fall on the side of overall it is bad. You know, it sets a bad precedent that this can happen so easily. And it is so incredible that people talk about go and make your own platform, and someone did. And yeah, they made mistakes and there were issues that they made. But it's like, they did that, and that didn't work either because all of these big tech companies were like switched them off anyway. You know,
one of the most unhinged things I've read, I'd say in a long time, but I did read the Bernie's Mittens, Our White Supremacy article. So it's the most unhinged article I've read in the past 2 days, is the best I can do.
Okay.
Yeah, you might have seen it floating around. I'm just going to read you the title real quick. And this has been promoted in certain corners of Twitter.com. The secret history of the shadow campaign that saved the 2020 election. And this is quite a ride, let me tell you.
Yeah, I've seen it floating about, and I haven't read it. It looked like a mucho texto thing, but it is probably something I need to be aware of. So hit me with it.
This article was run yesterday, February 4th, called The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign That Saved the 2020 Election. And I'm trying to think of I want to like introduce this in the right way. And the first thing I want to say about it is it's written by a woman named Molly Ball. Molly Ball has written a book. I'm going to about Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to read I'm going to read to you quickly the blurb from her website.
Okay.
She's the iconic leader who puts Donald Trump in his place, the woman with the toughness to take on a lawless president and defend American democracy. Ever since the Democrats took back the House in the 2018 midterms, Nancy Pelosi has led the opposition with strategic mastery and inimitable elan. It's a remarkable comeback for the veteran politician who for years was demonized by the right and taken for granted by many in her own party. Even though as Speaker under Barack Obama, she deserves much of the credit for a ethical liberal accomplishments from universal healthcare. When did the Democrats pass universal healthcare? I must have missed that one. To gays in the military. How did a 79-year-old Italian grandmother in 4-inch heels become the greatest legislator since LBJ? And how will she manage her greatest challenge yet? Impeachment? Question mark. So this is who we're dealing with, okay? You now know exactly who this person is. The cover is Nancy Pelosi in her sunglasses and her red coat, with that picture when she first met with Trump as Speaker of the House, and she's walking away and she has her sunglasses on. I think that this is second only to Madam Clapback doing the seal flipper clap during the State of the Union. So this is by a hashtag resistance shitlib has written an article for Time Magazine called "The Secret History of the Shadow Campaign that saved the 2020 election." We're going to learn about these shadowy figures who have saved our democracy. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It's actually really long, but I just want to give you a taste of it. Okay.
Okay.
A second odd thing happened amid Trump's attempts to reverse the result. Corporate America turned on him. Hundreds of major businesses, many of whom had backed Trump's candidacy and supported his policies, called on him to concede. To the president, something felt amiss. It was all very strange, Trump said on December 2nd. Within days after the election, we witnessed an orchestrated effort to anoint the winner, even while many key states were still being counted. In a way, Trump was right. So the opening statement, Trump's conspiracy theory about how the media was anointing a winner of the election was right. This is hashtag resistance Molly Ball. There was a conspiracy unfolding behind the scenes, one that curtailed the protests and coordinated the resistance from CEOs. Why would you write this? What were you thinking? Why would you write an article about how a shadowy cabal of CEOs conspired behind the scenes to rig the election and act like everyone's gonna like clap and be grateful?
Yeah, of course. This is just like, you're just giving the fucking right-wingers logs to throw on their conspiracy fire with this shit, surely. I just don't get it.
The opening paragraph of this sentence writes a check that the article cannot cash, because because it's saying something incredibly both dangerous and also stupid, and also stupidly dangerous. But it never actually gets to a point where it actually substantiates or backs up any of these grandiose claims. This is essentially a fever dream that this lady was having, where basically an Avengers of Democratic consultants and woke CEO shitheads got together and teamed up to defeat the metaphorical Thanos that is Donald J. Trump and social media disinformation. This is some weird fever dream that she contracted, that she had with her communal group of friends over a Zoom call, essentially. There's some really good pull. Well, but go on. But there's some really good pull quotes that I want to find in here, because they're amazing.
There was one off the back of what you just read. Both surprises were the result of an informal alliance between left-wing activists and business titans. And I'm just like,
it seems like if an informal alliance of activists and business titans are protecting our democracy, that seems like a very blurry line to rigging the election. Are any of these people authorized to be protecting our election? That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound above the board.
No, it doesn't, does it? I can, like I say, I saw this floating about. I can only imagine how this is being utilized.
They love it. The right and all of those people this is a fucking wet dream, because basically this is what they say, and they're sort of correct about it, that like one of these deep state media shill hacks like just comes right out and says it, and they're right, like repeatedly. She there's one, hold on, I think there's a part where she actually calls it a conspiracy. This is the inside story of the conspiracy to save the 2020 election based on access to the group's inner workings. That's why the participants of this secret history of the 2020 election told, that's why the participants want this secret history told, even though it sounds like a paranoid fever dream. A well-funded cabal of powerful people ranging across industries and ideologies working together behind the scenes to influence perceptions, change rules and laws, steer media coverage, and control the flow of information. But Chud, don't worry. They were not rigging the election. They were fortifying it. Every word you said there before they were not rigging the election sounds horrifying. Like a shadowy cabal of special interests are fortifying the election by changing the rules and steering the media. What part of that do you want people to clap for exactly? All of that is bad.
Yeah, of course. No, that's so weird. It's like a gift to people who say, oh, this is fucking wild to me.
I think people like this, they're not able to hear themselves. They're so insulated in their bubble, in their bubble with their group chats with Alyssa Milano and Deborah Messing, that like they just don't know how this sounds to anyone. I mean, look, the woke billionaires are teaming up with your favorite celebrities to influence the election. Everyone clap for this great news that we're hearing. Isn't this fantastic? Like,
yeah, I mean, yeah. So some of this is like literal George Soros level type stuff that the right do, and
right.
Just
Except it's coming from hashtag resistance, and they're cheering for it.
yeah. Like,
a group of woke billionaires are getting together and putting weird chemicals in the water to turn your kids gay. Everyone clap. This is great.
Oh my god.
And this is so. Here's what this is. Here like so she goes on like setting setting this up as some kind of like epic where but she hasn't actually described who is doing what are these titans of industry and CEOs doing. What was their secret project? Okay, so here's what it is. There's this guy, his name is Mike Podhorzer, and he's the senior advisor to the president of the AFL-CIO. So he's a lobbyist. This guy's a lobbyist, right? And then it goes on to say that he's known as the wizard behind some of the biggest advances in political technology in recent decades. Okay, whatever that means, right? So this guy, Mike Potterhauser, what he did was he got on a bunch of Zoom calls, and he and his friends showed everyone some PowerPoint presentations that they did, and then they raised millions of dollars to do the work. The work that basically consisted of, one, entertaining each other on Zoom calls, and then two, there's a paragraph where they describe it. There's a paragraph where they describe what they're actually doing. And what it is just completely conventional get out the vote stuff, which is not a secret at all. Not a shadowy cabal of anything. That's literally the most conventional election time strategy imaginable. That there is no more conventional election strategy than get out the vote, which is what these people were doing when they weren't showing each other PowerPoint presentations on Zoom all day.
Jesus Christ. So this fucking Zoom shit they're doing is the center point for this entire article. Is that right?
Yeah. The article is. Hold on. Let me read. I've got another good quote here. The meetings became the galactic center for a constellation of operatives across the left who shared overlapping goals but didn't usually work in concert. The group had no name, no leaders, no hierarchy, except for this Potter House guy, I guess, but it kept the disparate actors in sync. This is a quote. Pod, they're calling the guy Pod, which I love. His name's Mike Potterhouse, but in the world of the article, his friends call him Pod, which plays very much like he's trying to get people to call him this nickname, so he got the author to put it in his article, so people will call him that. Pod played a critical behind the scenes role in keeping different pieces of the movement infrastructure in communication and aligned, says Maurice Mitchell. Someone. Oh, she's actually from the Working Families Party. You have the litigation space, the organization space, the political people just focus on the W, and their strategies aren't always aligned. He allowed the ecosystem to work together. So this guy sits in his kitchen on Zoom calls all day. None of those words mean anything. I also love that they call him Pod because it's like Pod Saved America. It's like that's what the article's about. It's about Pod Saved America, our friend Mike Potterhouse. Also, you've got to love that the Zoom calls became the galactic center for a constellation of operatives. I love that. The galactic center. I love it.
Jesus, what an absolute load of ridiculous nonsense. I'm just... Oh, who fucking authorized this? It's just, oh God, I don't know. This is silly. I don't know what else to say about it.
They absolutely 100% shouldn't publish stuff because this article is not, this article, after promising some like conspiracy and pro-democracy cabal, it covers stuff like the controversy behind mail-in voting ballots. That was not a shadowy occurrence that happened. That was front page news for most of the election, was people, debating and disputing the validity of mail-in ballots. This is just she's taking the stuff we all know about the election, and she's wrapping it in a veneer of like, I'm gonna blow the lid off this huge story. I'm gonna reveal these secrets behind the secret society behind the election. But the secret society never shows up. She never actually fulfills that promise. And it plays kind of like the editor. It plays sort of like she's having a hallucination, but it also plays like the editor realized that no one was going to read this story, so they had to make up a big lie about the story and tell everyone that there was a secret society of superheroes that saved us during the 2020 election.
I mean, yeah. What the thing is, these kinds of people like the term PMC and all this stuff.
I do know the term PMC, which stands for Professional Managerial Class.
But this, I think that gets overused. Like, I've seen people describe certain bread tubers as that, and I'm just like, I don't know about that one, Chief. But this is the kind of person that you should be thinking of when you're the professional managerial class. Literally, right. Manufacturing our consent, but doing it so heavy-handedly, you just gift the fucking right this amazing article to point to and go, there's the proof, there's the cabal. They even talk about it themselves,
And there's an attitude in this article that is so common among, I won't say the left, I guess I'll just say liberals today, but one of like supreme deference to authority. Like, listen, guys, the guy like Zuckerberg is mentioned in this article. The guys who own Facebook and Amazon and the New York Times and Nike and Coca-Cola, all of these guys are actually superheroes who are working together to save our country. We've got to do our part and get behind them. I'm sure 100% this lady was mad about that Wall Street Journal article that said that didn't want to call Jill Biden a doctor. Like, she was fuming about that because that's what these people obsess over: credentials and titles and deference to authority. And that this attitude is so common among the liberal left these days, and it's extremely disturbing to me for reasons that are crystallized in this in this article.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's the classic thing of, like, you know, and I didn't really comment too much on the Jill Biden doctor absurd, but it's the classic thing of these PMC libs are all fucking arguing with one another about, you know, arguing with conservatives or whatever about should Jill Biden be called a doctor. Meanwhile, some working class people are just like, you know, the withered Wojak, like, healthcare please meme, you know? Yeah. It's like, who gives a fuck? This, you know, stuff like that Jill Biden stuff, it just becomes a culture war type issue, right? And it's like, it doesn't meaningfully change anything. And actors on both sides will try and spin it to their narrative of how they want to do it. Meanwhile, the average working class person is still getting fucked over. Nothing's going to, like, you know, you're not doing anything to help them, but they get wrapped up in it and they argue about it, and it obfuscates what they should really be concerned about, which is, you know, their material circumstances, right? Like, I don't know. I get so frustrated with all this stuff. It's so annoying.
You know what this story reminds me of? Do you remember? I think it was, it must have been over the summer. There was a story. I heard about it from Tim Pool, I'm pretty sure, where there was some big like a bunch of like media people got together and did some like election war games, and John Podesta played Joe Biden in the war games, and he refused to concede. Do you remember this story?
I can't say I do, to be honest. No.
Oh man, it's because Tim Pool's take on this was this proves that the Democrats are planning on stealing the election, which seemed like a bit of a stretch to me. But there were so many weird parts of the story because I was reading and I was going, like, who are these people? Like why are they getting together on a Zoom call and doing a war game about the election? And they talked a little bit about like this group, which seemed kind of like a shadowy cabal, if I'm being honest. It included not just John Podesta, who I guess took an afternoon off from like digging dungeons under various Washington, D.C. pizzerias. Bill Kristol was there. I think a bunch of like tech entrepreneurs were there. It's like, what is this group? What is their objective? There didn't seem to be any answer to this question, which makes I couldn't find any connection between this group of weirdos and that group of weirdos. But it seems like they might have been like working on like different ends of like the same thing. I guess you don't remember. Before we hang up on this, I just want to hit one last point on this. Which
yeah, sure.
So they're talking about all the superstars that this group has attracted to their Zoom calls, and there's one in particular that they call attention to. Dick Gephardt, the Democratic former House leader turned high-powered lobbyist, spearheaded one coalition. We wanted to get a really bipartisan group of former elected officials, cabinet secretaries, military leaders, and so on, aimed at blah, 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 blah. He worked his contacts in the private sector to put $20 million behind the effort. I just want to talk a little bit about the private contacts of lobbyist superstar Dick Gephardt for a second. So Dick Gephardt, former congressman or Speaker of the House or something, in addition to being a consultant for Goldman Sachs, also, in his new role as a Washington lobbyist, Gephardt, on behalf of the Republic of Turkey, has been actively lobbying against the House resolution condemning the Armenian genocide. While supportive of the resolution in Congress, he now contends that facts need to be better known before any position is taken on this historical controversy. Yas Queen! Lobbyist superstar Dick Gephardt is bringing his contacts into the movement. Goldman Sachs and President Erdogan are definitely going to team up to save our democracy. I know I feel a lot better.
Oh my God.
He's a for-hire genocide denier.
And this is getting all everyone's clapping. All the libs are clapping.
Everyone
clapping
clap.
like
Yas Queen, Dick Gephardt, lobbyist superstar, is on the case. He's going to solve the problem. I love how he says, since retiring from Congress, he's now had more opportunity to read into the history of the Armenian genocide and has some questions.
Jesus Christ.
So all your faves are getting together to fight for democracy. What a edifying story. I know I feel a lot better.
Yeah, it just, this stuff all just like, it just smacks of like American centralism as well, Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like listen, like I don't want to like go off on a tangent with stuff, but something's just come to mind. And, I think about, like, listen, what happened to the Capitol building was bad. There's no doubt about it, But, like, I think of like, all the stuff that's happened off the back of it and all this, like, I would consider excessive pearl clutching that's occurred
Mm-hmm.
around it. And
I'm gonna go on a limb and agree with that statement.
Okay. But I think about, like, in some Middle Eastern country, they'll literally go into a fucking an office, like execute everyone inside and take over. And I'm just like, you're acting like that happened, and you're acting, but in the Middle East, that's just business as usual. And even then, it might even be that the Americans somehow supported these people that are doing the coup and are leading this on, And it's like, this is just business as usual in other countries. Like, this happens all the fucking time around the world, and sometimes you people are the ones that fucking make it happen. But when it happens to you, it's the same with the 9/11 thing. And obviously, I'm not like saying America deserved 9/11. That's not my position. But it's like, when it happens to you, it's this exceptional thing that we've all got to be deeply concerned about. And it's like, motherfucker, this happens all the fucking time. Like, but when it happens to America, you act like it's some grave travesty and problem that's occurred. And it's just like this American-centric viewpoint of things. And the ways in which that this article cheers on these kinds of ghouls who are even denying genocides that are happening. Like, I don't know, it just all links together for me and just makes me realize how fucking morally corrupt these institutions are. And they've got no concern for anything else except what's going on in their country. That's all they fucking care about.
Now, CL, sorry, who do you think is actually behind 9/11, in your opinion?
Well, okay. I used to be a 9/11 truther. I actually,
really?
I used to be a 9/11 truther. Yeah. I was, quite firmly on the camp if it was an inside job. I don't know if you heard of it. You remember the movie Zion?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I watched that one. I watched Loose Change. Yeah, I watched them all, man. I watched Screw Loose Change too, actually.
Yeah, I mean that it was interesting. It didn't really have any merit, and if you look now, pretty much I think everything that was a cornerstone of the conspiracy has been explained in a logical way. It's like Occam's razor stuff,
Well, now wait a minute. What happened? What happened with Building 7 though?
Well, basically, okay. So with Building 7. No. I mean, this is all. I've not looked at this for a while. But Building 7, essentially, what they established is that falling debris and fires within Building 7, I think, that occurred. That's the reason that building fell down. This narrative that it was the only building ever to freeform collapse by itself was incorrect.
That's true. Yes, I have read that. Yeah. It's also happened since. Also, like steel foundations have. So the fire doesn't need to melt steel. It just needs to be hot enough to warp the steel. That's a key
warp
thing.
It, yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's become such a meme now. But yeah, jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams was unironically the rallying cry of the conspiracists and whatnot. But unfortunately, facts come about and prove it wrong. I think, I think at best you can maybe accuse the U.S. government of being, incompetent in some way and not recognizing the threat because they were notified of it.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it was an inside job. And the final point I make on it, just to sort of,
I'm very glad that we went down this tangent, by the way.
Yeah, this is good. But the idea that there was this conspiracy, you would need to think how many people would need to be involved with this conspiracy to go off. Countless people, and none of them have come forward. No one's come forward and said this has happened. That's inconceivable. Yeah. Not a single person would be racked with guilt of these deaths to such a degree that they would want to come forward and bring light to it. know, we're talking about airplanes involved. Fucking like it's an unprecedented amount of infrastructure and you know that would need to occur to do this. And
it's going to be really awkward when I lose half my subscribers because of this segment.
Wait, are your subscribers on the?
All my subscribers or no, half my subscribers are 9/11 truthers. I'm led to believe due to demographic research I've done.
Okay, fair enough.
I surveyed my audience, and surprisingly popular. When I saw Michael Brooks live in the Bell House, they did a Q&A part, and there was he was the last guy to ask a question, and he was a 9/11 truther, and he hit him. I forget what his talking points were, but he just starts hitting the panel with all these like 9/11 questions, and they're just like, oh no.
Yeah, I mean, one thing
they just very politely tried to change the subject, and this gentleman was not interested in that. He was going to stick to his talking points.
One thing I've learned online is you'll waste a lot of time arguing with people who still to this day are 9/11 truthers, because it's like any conspiracy theory. Any counter evidence or counter information becomes part of the conspiracy. Oh no, that website is run by this group. They're linked this way. And it's just like, it's pointless. You can't get through to those people. It's a waste of time.
But wait a minute, you were just telling us we need to get through to QAnon, guys.
Oh yeah, sure. So just to be clear with that, what I mean,
you don't have to reconcile that. I'm interested in what you have to say. I guess.
I will reconcile it. Like, but what the point with my overall point with that is like we shouldn't just I'm not going to go on social media and 9/11 truthers, and I don't think we should have such a hostile attitude towards QAnon people. My overall point though is 9/11 truthers is more of a meme. It's kind of like similar to like believing in flat Earth. It's not as harmful, I think, as like some of the QAnon stuff is. But the point is these people are radicalized. So if someone's radicalized, you don't just have a chat with them to get them over it. They require an expertise and attention and therapy. I don't know what exactly it would look like, but they need stuff. They need someone to be able to talk to help de-radicalize them. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I think
I've never been in this position where I had to do that, so I don't have any firsthand knowledge. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, sure. So I think it's about saying for me, someone that's in QAnon, we should be looking at how we can support them to move away from that, not in decrying them for believing that, And for me, it's like we need to make therapy accessible, or I don't know what it would be, but some forms of assistance over and above, just a discussion about stuff that helps them move away from that, And 9/11 truthers, they're more of a, I don't really think we need to de-radicalize them as such, but yeah, I don't know. I just get frustrated, particularly with 9. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going against with my principle, am I? Contempt for the con man, crash for the con. But like I say, it's very difficult to adhere to that. But if I was being realistic, I probably should accept that I've been con to believe that. But anyway, sorry, I'm rambling a bit.
Is there anything else we should talk about? Any other points you wanted to get by?
No, I think this has been. No, I think that's.
Didn't you say that you had some maps of exactly where Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was on January 6th and what she knew and where she was when she knew it?
Okay. Oh my god.
Don't you have little like family circus maps, like red dots all over DC, charting her course that day?
Okay, listen, I know we're moving a bit, but you've hooked me in with that because listen,
oh no.
I listen. Okay, can I be really brutal?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I'm very sympathetic to anyone that has a difficult experience, a traumatic experience, whatever it is. Right? I'm very sympathetic to that. Okay, and I don't think politicians are resistant to that. Obviously, they're going to experience that too, but I find it a bit weird that now we've got this session in Congress where, these politicians are standing up and speaking about their trauma that they had at this event. And I just think back to what I said earlier, if these people were like politicians in the Middle East, they'd have been fucking executed, or a new fucking puppet regime would have been installed. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like,
yeah.
like, I accept that there's a difficulty that you've had, but is this the right way to deal with it? To go and make this a public spectacle?
Oof, this is going to be controversial. I can tell you right now.
Yeah, I know. You know, so be it. But it's just frustrates me, and it adheres to this thing that I think, and I know, is it Matt Chrisman from Chappos talked about this, and I've heard him talk about this, and this is something I kind of have bought into, this idea that there's a constant push for us to feel anxious about things we don't have any control over, and the capital, you know, thing was a great example of that, and there was this push that we've all got to feel this way about it, and if you don't, oh my God, you don't think coup, you don't think it was this, that, and the other. Oh my God, it's like why do I have to feel so anxious about this thing? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I can't do anything about it. It's happened. I can't stop it. It's bad. I accept it's bad. But why are we going to these extremes with it? I mean, what do you think?
So I have studiously avoided learning anything about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez hiding in the bathroom gate. I haven't watched any of her Instagram posts on the subject, but I do have an opinion on AOC in general, which is she is really big on this sort of like Twitter social media talk about like trauma and harm and violence. I've heard her use all of these words in ways that I consider kind of controversial, and maybe it's harmless, but I think that in particular on Twitter, and maybe even in particular on the left, people have really adopted this manner of speaking where they overstate harm. And it's one of my least favorite trends on the left right now, or in our culture right now. And I think that someone in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's position has a responsibility to not engage in it, to be a lot more responsible in how she communicates about harm. Like when she's like, I don't know that she said anything wrong about the January 6th, because I haven't heard what she had to say. But just like the day before, she was telling Ted Cruz that he tried to have her killed or something like that. People talk like that on Twitter. She's very online, so she picked it up. I think that as an elected representative, she has a responsibility to not talk like that.
I agree with you. Yeah.
It's a gross exaggeration. And I wish that that more people would say this about her, because I think that in some ways she's very good. I mean, if I've lived in her district, I would vote for her because she's right on most issues. But if she's going to be a serious voice in politics, she needs to, in my opinion, she needs to get over that, because I think that that's a really self-defeating tendency that is going to backfire.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I consider myself an enlightened. I think there's unfair criticisms that occur from some lefties, and I'm concerned that some of these narratives lean in and lend themselves to right-wing narratives, which I don't really like. Like, yes. I'm not saying you can never agree with the right, but like when you're pushing the same narratives that I see, seem pretty baseless to me, it just seems like a foolish way to go about things, you know? But what I also dislike is this stan thing that's come up about her, like, blindly standing AOC. Like, how is that any different from the girl boss shit that the libs do about Kamala Harris? At the end of the day, AOC is a politician. That means she's a public servant. She gets paid a salary by the public to serve the public, okay? And all I care about is if she's doing a good job of that or not. I don't care about this cult of personality, or whether you're a fan of her, whether you like her fucking shoes, or you like her jacket. That's all fucking window dressing and irrelevant to me. Is she having a meaningful impact and implementing good policy? And further to that, I agree with you that absolutely, she's a prominent figure. She should be beyond making these ridiculous, like, listen, Ted Cruz is a shithead. I don't like Ted Cruz. But for God's sake, AOC, you're a fucking politician. Sometimes you have to work with people that you disagree with to get things done. That's a real political reality of Washington, right? Or any political system. So this ridiculous way of like it just seems so absurd to me. Like, if you've got an issue, fine, but like, why tweet that? It just looks so bad. Do you know what I mean?
It's because she's inundated in a culture that has embraced this manner of speaking. You see people talk like this all the time. But as someone who's like kind of a leader within the culture, I think she should be leading us in a better direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I do think that there's some evidence, no, not evidence, sorry, but I do think there's truth in the idea that you're putting there in terms of like, this is someone whose entire career revolves around that on, and that probably has affected some of the ways that she goes about things and influence. And I think, I think she has the chance to do a lot of good and be a fantastic politician. But we need to move away from this cult of personality and this blind worship of her. Like, let's be critical, but do it in an effective way, not like blindly fucking saying all the right wing shit about it, but also not just accept it,
Yeah, and
like,
that's a problem that's not specific to her. I mean, there are political stands all across the spectrum. Tulsi stands. There's maybe even I'm a Bernie stand to some, or not now, but maybe I have been in the past. There's fucking stand.
Just to be clear, I mean, Bernie's obviously not as relevant now as a few months ago in terms of like this discussion, but I absolutely believe, and I agree. Like, I have to watch myself with Jeremy Corbyn. Like, I totally agree that there is a problem with this across the political spectrum, and I do think, and I agree with you that like there was some standing of Bernie that goes on that I probably got wrapped up in a little bit. But
it's really difficult to disengage from that stuff in the middle of the campaign, because especially when someone's just getting attacked all the time. If you're running for president, you're getting attacked all the time. It's natural to want to be defending them, and then all of a sudden you're this like total fucking shill before you even know it. Andrew Yang stands. Don't forget the Andrew Yang stands.
Well, you know what? With Andrew Yang, I honestly feel like he got a bad run of it from the left. Like, I think I bought into this and I pushed this as well, probably because of the Bernie stuff. But this narrative of like how rubbish UBI was, and you think about it now, and you think about like, I mean, I don't think he really had a chance of winning. But imagine if he came into office and he had this UBI freedom dividend, and everyone was getting $1,000 a month. Like, that would have a meaningful impact on the lives of working people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I was never against UBI, although the complicated thing. I said this on, I think I said this on Twitter recently. Maybe I didn't, but that Yang is a really good communicator. He's really good at selling his ideas in like very basic, easy to understand language. But then he leaves enough vagueness that you can read him as either a progressive or a centrist. And I think that's like a real weakness with him. I think that if he could potentially be like a real leader in the future. I think he has actually like some pretty considerable like political talents, in the way that like Obama did. That's not to say like maybe he could be like a shit politician, but I think he has like the talents necessary there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I remember, and fucking professional libs lost their fucking mind over this when it happened. But after the presidential election, I think it was, Andrew Yang came out and gave the message that I agree with, which is like, hey, there's a lot of Trump voters out there. We don't want to just write them off. Some of them are desperate. Some of them just thought Trump would help them, and he didn't. Blah blah blah. And gave that sort of unity message, but not like a sort of like silly unity message. It was like it made sense to me.
Yeah. Didn't Biden say something similar to that though? I don't remember.
Yeah,
what
sure.
Biden
I think
he said something about bipartisanship. I know.
Yeah, sure. I mean, but to be honest with you, I think that's a good thing. Like, I do think there needs to be like, I don't like the fucking healing the nation memes. That's kind of a bit cringe, but absolutely, we need to contend with the fact that millions upon millions of people voted for Trump despite all the reasons not to. Why is that? Like, and if the Biden administration can do things to fix that and make it so that shit doesn't happen again, then great. But we'll have to wait and see on that one, I guess.
Yeah, wait and see into the future. And you know what they say about the future? It's where we'll all spend the rest of our lives. This has been a really fun conversation. I was kind of I don't know, like worried about it, because I guess I haven't done one of these in a while, but this really reminded me why I started doing it. Because what this is supposed to be is me, like, chatting with my friends on a Friday night, you know. And what I kind of allowed it to become was like, you know, I more invited people than actually agreed to come on, but like me like settling some Twitter argument that I had earlier in the day, which was just really grew very tedious, quite honestly. So this is good, man. This is a good episode.
No, I've really enjoyed it. It's been good. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Chud Logic. I'm a streamer on Twitch. I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, we never introduced you. There was no introduction. Plug your shit, man.
Okay, so you can find me. You literally just Google Chud, and you'll find all my stuff. On Twitter, I've been banned from Twitter twice. I've had the ban hammer applied to me, so I'm now my producer is on there at Irrational Chad. So follow them for the kind of takes I might give. And other than that, Chud Logic on YouTube, Chud Logic on Twitch, all one word, and you'll find my stuff and you can check me out. I do political reaction content, talk about politics, British politics as well, give my hot takes. I consider myself a Marxist, so that's the kind of analysis that I look to do. But you know, I'm interested in any policy that improves the plight of the working class and improves society. And
you cover Movie Bob's latest bad takes.
Yeah, oh my God.
You know what I meant? You know what I forgot to bring up while you were on here? We were talking before the new year, and you were talking about how you were going to divest from online and get more involved in like your community, and I wanted to ask about that. But that's a good topic for another time. You can come on again, and we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds good. Good.
Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for coming on. Chud Logic is the name. Twitch streaming's the game. You can find them online.
Great, thank you.